What is up, everybody? So the Yankees win. They take it, baby. It was a 7-3. Ah, back in the win column after two losses. Tomorrow is the game. Luis versus Luis tomorrow afternoon. Luis Hill versus Luis Castillo. It's going to be a good game. Okay, the Yankees are back in the win column. Outfield supplied all the offense today. 2 home runs for Juan Soto, home run for Aaron Judge, and then a bottom of the 8th home run for Alex Verdugo. Fantastic. Anthony Volpe looked good too, had a couple hits. Tommy Kahnle's back. He looked good as well. Okay. So, but, and by the way, shout out to all you in the chat. Celebrate. Let's celebrate and hit that like button to celebrate this Yankees win. But I want to talk about the elephant in the room, which actually isn't an elephant. Okay. But there's a lot of chatter going around with this right now. And I'm gonna put out the article here. Okay. And let's talk about this. Okay. For those that haven't heard, Hal Steinbrenner is at the owners' meetings right now in Midtown Manhattan. And, you know, they were asking him some questions, and the payroll is not sustainable for us financially, and so on and so forth, right? Yankees chairman Hal Steinbrenner claimed the team can't maintain its record high payroll this season. I'm going to be honest, payrolls at the levels we're at right now are simply not sustainable for us financially. It wouldn't be sustainable for the vast majority of ownership groups, given the luxury tax we have to pay. And we're going to get to that, okay? Given the luxury tax we have to pay. Keep that line in mind, okay? He also said, I don't believe I should have a $300 million payroll to win a championship. Not lying. Yankees opened up the season with $296 million. They've added since then. They're at about a 307 right now, okay? They got a bunch of guys coming off the books. Their estimated payroll for next year is going to be $202 million, which is a little over $100 million coming off the books, apparently. So Forbes has them valued at $7.5 billion, okay? An estimated revenue of $679 million, an operating income of $2.1 million. We're going to get to that too, okay? So what does this mean for the Yankees and Juan Soto? He already did say that he wants to bring Soto back. They've said that. He's openly said it last week, okay? And obviously they're going to do whatever they can to make sure the finances work to do that, because the fact of the matter is, and I will say this again, he's likely going to get nothing short of $50 million a year. And he says here, we've got a considerable amount of money off next season. Steinbrenner said, we didn't have a considerable amount coming off last offseason, which is why we're at where we're at, which is true, right? The list of rating operating pending for agents coming this offseason. Soto at $31 million, Torres $14.2, Verdugo $8.7, Clay Holmes $6, Tommy Kahnle $5.75, Jonathan Loaisiga $2.5, Caleb Ferguson $2.4. Okay, so and non-Soto players will leave it. Yeah, non-Soto players will leave some holes to fill, but they total up to $40 million potential slack. Yep. In the meantime, the Yankees can enjoy a team that has looked better than ever. Expectations in 2024. Boy by Soto, Judge in rotation has been one of the best despite remaining Cy Young Award winner Garrett Cole being sidelined. Okay, so let's get to this. Okay, this is important. It really is. Okay, so Hal Steinbrenner said their payroll is supremely high. And, you know, no, what's up? But by the way, shout out to everybody. Nathan, what's happening, my man? He said that the payroll will be on a sustainable based on, for most any teams, based on the luxury tax that they're in. Okay. Is that a fact? Yes, it is. Okay. Did he say last week they want to do everything they can to bring back Juan Soto? Is that a fact? Yes, it is. So stay with me. Okay. Now the operating, the revenue of the Yankees, $679 million. Is that big number? Yes, it is. But I've repeated this multiple times. Multiple times. I've even had guests on the show. We've broken this down line by line. And I'm gonna say this one line, okay? And I want you to understand it. And whether people believe it me or not, doesn't matter. It doesn't change it. This is an economic and a mathematical fact. Okay? Revenues do not equal profits. Okay, this is one of the first things you learn in economics class, and I have a degree in economics. Okay, revenues do not equal profits, so they're not making $679 million in profits. That's the overall revenue of the franchise. Okay, automatically chop off 300 for payroll immediately. That's cut in almost half. Then take 100 million off the bat for revenue sharing, which they pay every year. Now you're down to 200 profits, down from 600 and something. Okay, add the 60 plus million they're going to have for the luxury tax penalty. Now you're over at 100 something million. Okay, I just chopped almost $500 million off their profits. Okay, are you guys following me? Make sure. Okay, again, I can't emphasize this enough. We seem to live in a world and operate in a universe where propaganda and misinformation is more important than facts. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but that's just the way that it is. So, and again, you know, is there a similarity between what Hal Steinbrenner? Are you noticing something? Hal Steinbrenner said something last week that people wanted to hear, right? He said something today that people didn't want to hear. Both of them are true. Does that remind you of anybody? Out of curiosity, does that remind anybody in here of anybody? I do it all the time. Me. Okay. It also, yes, exactly. It probably doesn't include Yes Network. Okay. Add to the revenue. Then you back it off with, because they're self-financing their stadium. That's offset by Yes Network revenues. But the Yes Network revenues, yes, completely independent than the operating costs and the operating revenues. So, okay. And again, basic economics, okay? Revenues minus expenses equals profit. Tax regardless, okay? We're just keeping it factual here, okay? I want to keep it factual. I don't want to deal in propaganda like this other thing that people have been fed recently, that the Shohei Ohtani contract, the actual value of it is 450 million, not 75. The present day value is that has it completely irrelevant. He's going to get every dime of the 700 million he signed for, not 450 million. So present day value means nothing as it pertains to the contract he signed for. Nothing. It's just a number that actuaries come up with to calculate something different. Absolutely nothing. Okay? This is the same thing here. So that's $679 million in revenue. We took about 500 million off of that in about 10 seconds. Does this make more sense now? Is it starting to make sense for some folks? I want to make sure you folks are following me, because again, you know, and this is why I do both sides of the story, because I say this all the time. I want you to have the right information, so that if you're going to formulate an opinion or go on someone else's channel, I want you to have the right information. Okay? And again, you could be dealing with hornets from other channels, but they're not going to sting you. If they don't have the facts, they can't sting you. Okay? And that's important. There's nothing I said was untrue. There's no amount of talking points that's going to make it less factual. None. Zero. Okay? And I don't really care. And Chris, you make a point too. Yeah, when you make a statement that's popular, and you know you have to make a statement that's unpopular, you play the good statement first. Personally, I don't care. But that's you're not lying, Chris. Whichever order it comes out is whichever order comes out. Okay, and I say this all the time. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. If the bad information comes out first, that's the way it's going to be. Period. And that's okay. I want you to know the facts. And this is important. Okay. And again, yeah. This may be a prelude to it. If he loses Soto, that will also be able to blame it on his finances. And again, I don't think he's going to blame it on his finances. I think fans will. Beat writers, content creators, blah, 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 who seem to love talking on behalf of Hal, putting words in Hal's mouth, just like they do the same thing for Brian Cashman, putting words in Cashman's mouth, putting words in Boone's mouth, when we know that these guys aren't saying these things. Did Hal say they weren't going to be able to re-sign Juan Soto? Not at any point in time ever. But people are already talking about that today. Oh, he's not going to re-sign Juan Soto. When did he say that? Okay. Yeah, you have merch, you have parking. Okay, you have all that stuff. That's also factors into their revenues. That's not independent. That's all Yankees related, Chris. That is independent. Okay, they sold about $400 million this past year in ticket sales. Why they're trending towards this? They sold, I think it was 300 something last year in ticket sales, and they made six something last year in revenues as well, and a year that they didn't make the playoffs. Okay, in revenues before, then you got to cut the payroll, then you got to cut all these other operating expenses. Then they have about $2 million operating expenses. Then the owners and the executives, all those guys and gals have to be paid too. We haven't factored any of that stuff in yet. None of it. Okay, and again, let's go to the second. He's only re-signing Soto. Now let's break this down. Okay, the people I mentioned, Rizzo might not come back. Well, how often have we heard, especially on this channel and other channels I'm guessing too, that we need to play the kids and get rid of some of the expensive contracts? So we've heard that repeatedly, right? Okay. We have. So let's just say Spencer Jones replaces Anthony Rizzo at first base. Let's just say Jason Dominguez replaces Alex Verdugo on left field. Okay. We did it on the cheap. And you could have DJ backing up first base too. So that right there, you just saved. And then Gleyber Torres is likely not going to come back. That's $14 million. We just saved. That's, what is that? 20, 14, 34. That's like 40 something million dollars on those three guys. Clay Holmes is probably going to run at least 10, $12 million next year. If he doesn't come back, that's another. You're up at 55, almost 60 now. Four guys. Okay, but we do this on a regular basis, right? We want to play the kids, right? We want to play Dominguez and Jones. I totally get it. We want to see Will Warren, Clayton Beeter, and remember, the Yankees revamped their scouting and their drafting and their player development system in 2018. This is something that channels and other content creators who bash the Yankees on a regular basis gave them credit for too. So they made it possible now to have a robust draft and robust player development system, and their farm's stacked everywhere, which gives them the opportunity to supplement some of these young superstar players like Juan Soto with cheap, controllable players like Spencer Jones and Jason Dominguez. Okay? So they're doing exactly what the fans want them to do. Okay? They're doing exactly what the fans want them to do. Fans have been clamoring for this, right? And now we're in a position they can do that. But for some reason, so many fans, need the expensive player, need the star player, need the Josh Haders of the why? Why is the question. Right? Well, yeah, murders up. Play the kids, right? Give Soto what he wants and play the kids. Controllable years. That's how, that's exactly what fans have been asking for. That's exactly what they built their system to do now. So if we get upset at that, why are we getting upset at what we asked them to do? And this is why I want you folks to answer these questions I'm asking, right? I want you to enlighten me, please. I want to learn from you here. Okay? Dominguez will be up here at some point. Spencer Jones will be up here. Will Warren, Clayton Beeter, right? Chase Hampton, Henry Lane, like you're gonna George Lombard. You're gonna have a lot of these guys up here. Maybe T.J. Rumfield next year. You might have some of these other guys too. So there's a lot of young players. Okay. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Why do people be so negative and believe all the propaganda? Why? For some reason, this is why I don't do politics on my channel. Endless politics and endless trashing people. Because most of it's based on propaganda. Right? And that's a waste of time. And again, people are talking about today, oh, he's not George. Who cares if he's not George? It doesn't matter. George tried to trade away Mariano Rivera. He tried to trade away Derek Jeter. Hal's the one who talked him out of doing it. George was banned from baseball to try to create manufactured dirt on one of his players, Dave Winfield. He was banned from the game for life, and they got reinstated after 3 years. And during that time is when they drafted Derek Jeter and some of these other guys in the core four. So, and yeah, were we spoiled by George? Absolutely. Were we spoiled by how we got Juan Soto? Absolutely. This is where it's important to give credit where it's due. Brian Cashman worked on the Soto trade for like a year and a half. How's the guy to put it over the top? Okay. And George Steinbrenner never had to write $60 million luxury tax checks. Hal does. So again, $679 million revenue is not $679 million profit. It's not even close. That is an important fact to remember. Because far too many people are saying, you got this much money. I don't want to hear the payroll concerns. Completely ignoring all the expenses, the hundreds of millions of dollars expenses that they have. Why are they ignoring that? Right? Why are they ignoring it? Yeah. A lot of fans wanted Snell, Montgomery, Hader, and the next shiny, Mason Miller. Can't trade the whole system for them. Expect to keep the king. Yeah. We had people that wanted us to trade the future for Corbin Burns. 1 year of him. He would have cost $30+ million next year too. Would have made it harder to extend Juan Soto. Soto is priority number one. Of any of those guys going to be free agents, maybe Clay Holmes comes back. Maybe. I don't know about the rest of the guys. And again, I said this too. This is why Cashman trades for relievers with lots of controllable years. So he's got controllable years in the bullpen. He can supplement that. He doesn't have to go get 5 expensive relievers. He doesn't have to do that now. He's got a lot of guys with controllable years here. And you have other guys coming up through the system who are going to have boatloads more controllable years. They're in a good spot. Okay? And this is why it's important to be, this is why I'm stressing these points. Okay? These are true mathematical, economical facts. It's public record. You can look it up yourself. You can look up the Yankees revenue streams. They're public. They're on the Yankees website. Okay? They pay more revenue sharing than any franchise in baseball every year. It's at least $100 million every single year. $100 million they give out to other teams who don't, for the most part, spend it on players. Is anybody following me? Well, I know you feel that way, James, but it isn't true. He's not as rich as Steve Cohen is from the Mets. Steve Cohen's a finance guy. Different story. When George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees, he bought them for like just under $9 million. He turned it into a juggernaut. Him and Hal and the rest of the crew. Okay. And a fee. Thank you, bro. I mean, this is important, right? A lot of people, for some reason, and I don't know why, I can't speak for them. A lot of people, it just comes in, facts go in 1 year, out the other year. And they just want to hear the propaganda. So they have the next talking point to trash people. What value does that bring? Anywhere. Yes, and this is another valid point here. The revenue sharing has built teams like the Diamondbacks and the Royals. Yes, the Rays, the A's. They're all beneficiaries of revenue sharing. All of it. And the A's were under a payroll threshold last year. They had to return their revenue sharing money back to the Yankees. Their sharing it because their payroll was too low. They didn't spend on players. This is all real. This is all factual stuff. Okay, doesn't mean we can't have opinions. Doesn't mean we can't be emotional about it. And again, I don't. I'm a fan of being emotional. We wear emotions on our sleeves. But at the very least, if you're going to come here, you're going to be emotional. Let's do it in reality, please. Let's at the very least base it on real information and not bullshit. Okay? Well, yeah, exactly, Murders. Where people twist facts to suit their opinions, not the other way around. Exactly. You can have your own opinions, sure, but you can't have your own facts. Okay? Yeah, JT, exactly. What gets me pissed is when owners pocket the money rather than bettering their teams. And they do this all across the board in baseball. And the union still doesn't want a revenue floor, a salary floor, where teams have to spend at least a minimum amount of money before they have to forfeit draft picks and all that stuff. They just keep funneling money from teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets and the Cubs and the Red Sox to these other crappy teams. And they just pocket. And all of a sudden you have these guys, driving luxury jets and having these luxury seats in their stadiums with nobody in them. What the hell's the point of that? What is the point? Yeah, George was a little nuts. I mean, nobody denied his passion and he loved his team and he loved to win. There's nobody denying that. Okay? Nobody. Hal just operates differently. He operates differently. And if the financial landscape of baseball is way the hell different than it was in George's years. It's different now. It's completely different. Okay? And again, they have, a lot of expenses, a lot of over. They're self-funding their own stadium, okay? Like somebody mentioned star insurance. I think Jonathan, that's an additional $25 million a year coming in. And yet they're not swimming in profits as much as people think they are. This is why I want to be clear. 679 million in revenue that they brought in, not profits. 675 million in profits would be a completely different discussion. Then we'd have absolute ample reason to be pissed at them for not wanting to be over $300 million payroll every single year. Couldn't blame them. And I'm on a hard pass on Elon Musk, Kadzilla. Nobody's talking bad about George Roger, Michael. Pointing out facts. George is beloved, but there are facts too. And facts are not talking bad about him. Yes, revenue and profit are totally different things. Yes, Chris. Broke that down. That's economics 101. It's one of the first things you learn. It's going to be a while when the stadium gets paid off. It's a couple of decades, William. And I mean, their financing of the stadium might change at some point. We don't know. But these are important things to point out. And like I said, Hal said certain things. He did not say certain things. But people are running with stuff that he did not say today. Why is that? Why pass is because he's a clear example of preferring propaganda over facts, Kadzilla. So I pass on him, on Elon Musk. Yeah. House family of multimillionaires who perform who knows how much money nobody knows, but I'm not going to stand here and presume they're sitting on oodles of money. Can't even, that's something we can't calculate. So it's even pointless to even, you know. Why doesn't Hal fire Cashman? He made it. Hal approves all these expenditures, and Cashman is the one that kept Hal under 300 million for a bunch of years. Michael, this is another fact that people like to ignore. It's a fact. Well, exactly, Monroe. Point out facts. People cry about it beating hate. I have no hate towards George. You know that. We admire the guy. He was a legend here. But even legends make mistakes. And he did some things. That doesn't make him any less beloved. Right? So it's almost like venture capital. Break it, yeah. Breaking it down, selling off the pieces. In this particular instance, they don't have like sub companies. And the Yes Network is a part of the Yes Yankee Entertainment Sports, so they're owned by the Yankees. Aside from that, there's no. And this is they operate differently than venture capitalists. Venture capital does, and this isn't the same. And that's like a completely different entity too, like Wall Street, where you get CEOs that make $500,000 base salary, pay the same tax rate as us, but then they get $100 million in bonuses, and they pay 0 to 5% because it's classified as carried interest, and it's loopholed completely differently than salaries are. That people know that it's true. This is why these guys make so much money. This is why these people have houses in Hamptons. 90% of the mortgages in Hamptons are paid for. They paid houses in full. It's crazy, but it's true. And again, yeah, Cashman has things running on smoothly for Cashman. He's making them profitable. We don't know how much profitable, but they're not sitting on $600 million in profits. And for some reason, a couple of people keep saying that, and it's not true. Well, exactly. Yeah, I know they're part owners of a franchise, a soccer franchise. Good for them. They're branching out a little bit. That's cool. But again, doesn't change anything as it pertains to the Yankees. People are saying already that they're not going to sign. We're not going to re-sign Soto. Like where are we basing that information on? Right? Now, I won't affect the amount of players in the union for Schmidt. Not the amount of players in the union. There's a designated amount of player representatives in the union. So they don't want the floor because they don't want a salary, because then there's going to be people that want a cap too. So that's the thing. If there's a floor, then you're forcing teams to spend more, meaning they're not going to be able to pay people more at the top. And they want to keep elevating the roof. Okay. What's up, Carlos? By the way, shout out to all these in here. Big win to Talbot. George, I don't know, Jack. He might have. I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Caleb Durbin, we talked about him recently as an infield prospect to look out for. He's another guy who could be a replacement for Gleyber Torres. Right? And this is why the Yankees have built some of this farm the way that they have, because then they can replace some expensive players on the cheap, making it easier to allocate more money to Juan Soto. Right? And if they want to complement Juan Soto with another reliever, they want to complement him with somebody else, they could do that. So, this is not a surprise. Hal said this dozens of times. He's not surprising us, but for some reason, people are outraged and shocked today over something Hal told us 30 times. Right? Crazy. Well, yeah, he knows what the fans want. So does Cashman. They do what the fans want. For some reason, then we have a lot, not all fans, but we have fans that ask them to do something, and then they do it. It doesn't work. Then they trash them for being terrible owners and terrible GMs. They want them fired. And they take zero ownership of saying, well, I asked them to do that too. Can't even own that. Right? It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah. A's, Mariners, White Sox not spending revenue sharing cash. Teams receiving revenue sharing, $378 million. It's just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. And over almost 30% of the revenue sharing of that come from the Yankees. And for people who don't believe me, look it up. It's all public record. It's all true. Demon D, brother. Yeah, to trust him more. Yeah, man. Yeah. And again, you have players backing up Boone for showing confidence in them and letting the players be themselves. Like, this team is different, man. This team is different. Yeah, Chris, I would avoid it. I don't see the point in Elon Musk. He's already, you know, made Twitter a toxic environment too. So whatever. Let him do his thing. Let him do his thing. Yankees and Dodgers have, yeah, they're the two biggest revenue um, donors to other teams across the baseball. Yep. Every year. And again, I understand. Want to do that? Fine. But at the very least, if a team is not going to use their revenues, it should come back to the team, come back to the Yankees, come back to the Dodgers or whatever, right? Or they should lose a draft pick or something, some kind of balance here, right? Yankees have 30% revenue donors. What do you mean, CeeLo? I want to make sure I understand the question. Yeah, or life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, exactly. Strikes. Our opinions really don't matter. You have, yeah, he has the most important guys on the team backing him, and he's managing the team. And like I said this a lot, our opinions are our opinions. Okay, I get that, and we're all entitled to them. But our opinions are not their our expectations are not their obligations. You know, we pay for these tickets and we do all that stuff voluntarily. They're not forcing us to do this stuff. So, and I said this before, like people don't want to be told how to fan. Well, let's stop telling these guys how to run their team. It's only fair. It's got to go both ways. Yeah, TT. Luis versus Luis tomorrow. Hill versus Castillo. The key matchup. Yeah, exactly, man. There's got to be some kind of punitive measure for teams that just pocket the damn revenue sharing money and don't spend it on players. It's not fair. It really isn't. Well, exactly, too. If you have no business running a sports team, what the hell's the point? You know? But again, let me know what your thoughts. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest. But this frustrated the hell out of me today. So I heard so many people talking about this, and it's basically all misinformation. People are completely ignoring most of the main facts, and we're spreading bad shit around for people. And then it's running across a bunch of channels, and you have all this bad information running across channels. And I don't want that to happen. If it does happen, I'm not surprised. Obviously, it happens on a regular basis, but I don't want to be the one to spread the bad information. Right? They're not. Yeah, they're not sitting on 600 million in profit. Right? They're not. You have to subtract expenses. And there are levels and levels of expenses when it pertains to the Yankees. Right? And could they be sitting on? Maybe they have a fund, just sitting in the S&P 500, where it's just collecting compound interest on a regular basis on the back end. That's not necessarily annual profit. This is the difference between debt and deficit. When people talk politics on the debt, this, that. The debt's going to keep growing. That's money already spent. Until the deficit goes away, the debt continues to grow. That's how it works. And you have to get the deficit is the annual relation of spending versus the amount of revenue the government brings in. The government brings in via taxation, okay, and growth. The debt is money that's already spent. Period. That's it. You got to get rid of the deficit in order for the debt to stop growing. Now, If the baseball, yeah, I mean, and I don't think, I think the owners want that. I don't think the union wants that, Chris. So there's a discrepancy between. This is one reason why they strike, right, and why they do these lockouts, because the owners want one particular thing here, the union doesn't want it, because and I know the union's against it. They've said this. They're against the salary floor. I mean, because it's going to limit the amount of stuff that they have at the top, and they do not want it capped at the top, which is crazy, but it's true. So do I. I'm in a threshold for salary. Yeah, Chris, I'm with you. Yeah. And if you don't hit it, you can even tier it over the next 4 years. Like if it's 50 now, then you go to 62.5, then 75, then 87.5, then 100. I just give you a 4-year cycle to get to $100 million. And you can use a bunch of the money that you're getting revenue sharing to do that. Invest in your product. These guys are billion. There's only, I think there's one owner, and maybe it's no longer now. There was one owner in baseball only that wasn't the billionaire. It was worth like $950 million, something like that. I think they're all billionaires now. I mean, 24 likes to get to 100. Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't understand. Like the Orioles are in a good spot now because they have owners now that are willing to invest in their product. And I think they're going to be aggressive and they're trying hard to re-sign Corbin Burns, and they're going to be very, very aggressive in free agency and trades, and they're going to pump resources into their franchise now. And the Orioles are going to be good for a while. Congratulations to them, which is good. Hmm. Well, it's not a big deal, and this is the thing, Chris, right? And this is why people talk about the timing. He made it clear he wants Soto back, and the people asked him today about this stuff. He didn't just randomly volunteer the information. He was asked by reporters at the owners' meetings in New York, and he said this. I don't know how many times, how many dozens of times he said, "I don't think we need $300 million payroll to be a championship worthy team." And he says, "I think we're a championship caliber team, and we want to keep Juan Soto." That said, we can't sustain this type of payroll. Nothing he said was untrue, right? And for some reason, people are taking this completely out of context and putting words in his mouth, and it's spreading around channels like wildfire. People are making this a big deal. What the hell for? And this is what happens, Chris, right? Too often. They twist his words and then it becomes a big deal. Nothing he said was untrue. Nothing he said was something we haven't already heard. Nothing. We've already known this stuff, right? And this is what I ask people to enlighten me, because I want to understand why people are thinking this way, which is crazy. Maverick, nothing's ruining their momentum. I mean, I said this earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but like fans have been clamoring for them to play the kids, right? Well, if they replace Rizzo with, let's just say, Spencer Jones, they replace Verdugo with Jason Dominguez, and Gleyber Torres with, let's just say, Caleb Durbin or Yorba Vivas, or somebody like that, or even DJ. How much of a drop in production are you going to expect? Hardly any. But you just saved $50 million on the payroll. They go Soto's salary. So where's the momentum? You know, I mean, I I love the dynamic that Verdugo brings here, but I also, I'm excited about Jason Dominguez. And again, like to me, I don't know how much of a drop off is going to be from Verdugo to Jason Dominguez. People are excited about Dominguez and they want him here, and this is the easiest way to swap him out next year, not this year. Okay, and Rizzo, older, but Spencer Jones. If you want to get Spencer Jones and Dominguez in the lineup at the same time, this is the way to do it. Get him at first base, get Dominguez in the outfield. Okay, and then you have Stanton DHing is hitting well, and then when Stanton moves on, you can transition Judge to DH. You have an opening for an outfielder, and either Dominguez or Jones, they're both going to be at that point 24, 25. You can have both of them in the outfield, Juan Soto, and you've got a young ass outfield. So, I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, yeah, I remember that conversation too, Stephen B. Yeah, and it's like, you know, God, like, God forbid we want to bring some perspective and common sense to some of these conversations. Heaven forbid. And this is why, like, this is why we like to go on facts and good information instead of emotional overreactions based on bad information. So they're not fact checking, or they're following channels that clearly aren't fact checking stuff. So where can we get better? Right? Why are people making stuff up? For views, clicks? Like, why are people doing it? Rob's got a question. When a player like Stanton play for Miami, was he taking home more money because Florida has no income tax? New York, did he take a 10% pay cut because he was traded to New York? No, his pay stayed the same. The tax bracket changed when he moved to New York. I don't know if there was any increase in his pay at that point, but I don't think so. He asked to be traded from Maryland to Miami to New York, so he knew that was going to happen. And the Yankees just put him in a better spot to win than the Marlins did. So, and at that point, I don't think it's going to be that much of a differential. He's not going to be hurt for money. He's a guy that cares about winning, and that to me is that matters more than. But like you're right, no income tax, and I don't think Texas has an income tax either. So those two states, there aren't any. There are income taxes in New York, income taxes in California, as well as other states. But that's a good question. Well, a bunch of rookies, this is why you have other guys, right? Like Yorbit Vivas and DJ LeMay. You can infuse the rookies little by little. This is why it's valuable to have Trent Grisham, even though people complain about his batting average. He plays once every fifth game. A guy like Trent Grisham can make it easier for them to infuse Jason Dominguez gradually back here. A guy like and DJ would make it easier to infuse Spencer Jones here, right? So they're not having to rely on just rookies. They've got veterans here for a couple more years who can make it easy to transition into the rookies. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. And well, I think the problem is, they don't listen because he's not telling what they want to hear. As soon as they, hear what they don't want to hear, they completely shut off, and they'll just go to the places that'll say what they want to hear. And it's to me, it's it's a point. It's a waste of time. You know. But he's also like we already know the payroll is going to come down next year. They have 100 million coming off the books. So again, he didn't say anything that we didn't already know. We've gone over this dozens of times on this channel. The payroll breakdown, how much is coming off, how much is coming off the next bunch of years, and so on and so forth. We've gone over it time and time again. Yeah, I think that's the priority number one, James. Soto's the priority number one, and then you build around these guys. And if it's Soto, I mean, they're still going to have other guys here, veteran players. So, and it makes it easier for them to, because they're not going to just throw like 5 rookies into opening day lineup and expect that to be that way. Like, it stopped working for the Braves. They got so far, and then they were beat by veteran teams, just like the Diamondbacks last year. They were, had a combination of veterans and young players. So it just is what it is. And I don't think the Yankees, by any team, would throw that many rookies to the Wolves at the same time. You know. Well, exactly, Steven. Yeah, Stanton. He was saying basically you trade me to the Dodgers or the Yankees. Now is it. Well, exactly, CeeLo too. Yeah, they get off to a slow start. The fans will blow a gasket. It's crazy, but it's true. You know. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, Ken. Stagger their entrances to the major. I mean, who knows if they're both going to make it next year? Like, they may need a little bit more time in AAA. Like, they may, service time is going to matter too. And that this is contingent upon them. Ken, and this is a really good point, though. If they're up here 6 years in a row, full years together, then they'll be free agents at the same time, no doubt about it. 'Cause you have your 3 years of pre-arb and your 3 years of arb. Yeah, there are certain states that don't have income tax. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? So, yeah, take the tax rate into account for salary cap. You'd like to think so, Jake Boss. I would like to think so too. Maybe just states like New York and California can stop subsidizing states like Florida and some of these other states. Maybe that can happen. Yeah. Well, they are, Chris, and it took them a couple of years to get the system to the point where they have enough depth now, so they don't have to make every move an expensive free agent move like they used to do with George Steinbrenner. It's one reason why a lot of fans love them because he was not afraid to spend money. I get that, totally get it. But now it's different. Oh, you're right about that, Chris. And I think a lot of people react on they'll react on information, they'll overreact on bad information. Which is crazy, but it's true. Yeah, and Dennis, I mean, you guys make good points. I mean, it'd be nice if they kind of factored in some kind of different calculation to make it a little bit more fair for teams like, you know, in LA, in California, and New York, who have significantly higher taxes. Mr. Brian, I mean, House was saying that as much as he wants to bring back Juan Soto, and he does, and so on and so forth, the payroll after this year is relatively unsustainable, as it would be for any team, given the payroll constraints because of the luxury tax threshold level that they're in. So, and people went crazy, Mr. Brian. I'll attach the article down below so you can see it. If I don't attach it tonight, I'll attach it to tomorrow's morning's video. But you'll see it. But this is where so much stuff got taken out of context today. People completely putting words in Brian and in Hal Steinbrenner's mouth, not fact checking anything. And there's a lot of just bad information being spread out there. And you got people outraged at the wrong people for the wrong reasons. It's crazy. Well, yes, Team B, exactly. They're not afraid to spend. I mean, obviously, they have a top one or two payroll in baseball every year. Okay, but they also want to have options in the minors. Exactly, they want to develop well and spend well. So that's if the developing player is a better option than the expensive free agent, then you go with the better option. Now the Yankees are at a point now where they have that, where they didn't have it before. Yeah, yeah, Raymond. He spends. I mean, it's he's either one or two every year, right, Clemenza? Well, exactly, Billy. I think so too. And again, he's just it's the way he is. He's very cryptic with stuff. And again, he set the expectation. He set last week. He said he wanted to re-sign Soto. So he said what the fans wanted to hear. Now he's setting the expectation. Okay, He's basically building the context around which he will be able to re-sign one guy like Juan Soto. He knows that they have to re-sign him, okay? And he's also saying this probably because they don't want to be in a position where they're going to have to be dragged into an endless bidding war, okay? Like the agents want to get as much for their players as they possibly can. Teams want to play as little as they possibly can. They know Juan Soto is going to make upwards of Otani money, and that's just a fact. Fan side of house down running goes saying, no, he doesn't see that every reason to panic. See, that's just propaganda. Propaganda. I don't buy that at all. Every reason to panic about Juan Soto. That's putting words in his mouth. At no point did he say he was not going to be able to re-sign Juan Soto. At no point. So this is the type of stuff I'm talking about, Sila, right? It's just ridiculous. Yeah. Javier, what's up, brother? What's up? Thank you, Clemenza. Thank you. Shouldn't take a $300 million to win championships. It was smart. Passing on Snell, Bellinger, and Hader were smart moves. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. Wink, yeah. They're getting that from WFAN. They're peddling that because they're pretty much a Pro Mets channel. So, no surprise. No surprise. Let them do it all they want. They hate the fact that the Yankees got them. And again, it's this type of stuff, right? This is why I do this stuff, Javi. This is why I try to combat the lies and the propaganda. I know it's going to piss off some people, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I don't want to be the one to spread the bad information. I'd rather you know the real news, even if it's bad. I'd rather you know the truth. Well, exactly, James. What reason would he have to want to be the Met in my curiosity? Think Yankees will ever leave up here? The Mets, you mean, Wink? He offered Snell failed deal, yes, and Snell turned it down. Yep. Can't say they didn't do anything. Yep. Yeah, let them hate all they want, Stephen B, right? Let them hate all they want. It's all good. Do I think Edwin Diaz is sound? Yeah, probably, but I'm glad he's not a Yankees problem. You know? But, he might need to make some changes, obviously, and so on, and hopefully he comes back and plays well. Mm-hmm. Yankee broadcast, the broadcast. Wink, I'm not sure. I'm more into the Yes Network, so but I don't see any reason why they would move out there. I mean, leave FAN if they're streaming on there and they're getting a lot of attention. There's no reason for them. Appreciate you, CeeLo, man. Thank you, my man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Always appreciate the love. Xander Bogaerts out 2 months. Oh my God. Oh my God. Another 200. What do you make? $280 million. Oh my God. That sucks for the Padres. Yes, Billy. Exactly, Comenza. Then they turned around and signed a guy who has wanted to pitch for the Yankees and Marcus Stroman. Alex pretty damn smart for that one. Yep. Remember all the hell they got for they knowingly passed on Yamamoto. No, they didn't. They made a bid. No other teams know what the bids are. Okay. And he chose. He chose the Dodgers. Moving on. Right? They don't know the other team's bids. Did Bogarts crashing the Tatis? And again, John Mo's with the Dodgers. Good luck to him, man. I'm glad we got Stroman. He wanted to play here. He's a dog here, and he's beloved here. So I'm happy. Susan Wallman is one of the OGs. Her and John Sterling, one of the OGs for the Yankees on WFAN too. Appreciate you, Stephen B. We try to keep it. We try to keep our channels level-headed, and bring perspective and try and just try to treat everybody fairly and keep it that way. And that's it. Damn, the Panthers are up 3-0 on the Rangers. Shoot. But yeah, the fact is, Clemenza said it right. He wanted to be a Dodger. That's it. Can't blame how they offered him $300 million, and he got turned down. So, but they weren't going to pay him more than Garrett Cole. There's no way. He's not better than Garrett Cole. Why would they do that? Exactly, CeeLo. That spice, yeah, and then you get and then I know Verdugo has shown solidarity with him because I know Stroman got a lot of crap for wearing a do rag, but now Verdugo's got the do rag on too. Solidarity with his teammates, man. These guys are sticking together, man. I love that, man. Love it. Yeah, man. We got to give the Rangers good vibes here, man. Imagine if Otani, yeah. I don't know. It could be. Who knows? Facts about it. Bill, that's a good question. We know they gave him a first base glove. I don't know how much reps he's getting at first base. But we know that they gave him a first base glove. I mean, I don't know. He's getting only practice reps and not game reps. That one we haven't really got excuse me, much insight on Spencer Jones yet. I really don't. Facebook on this. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Like Yankee X and Yankee Facebook. It's overwhelming with bad takes and sources. Yeah. So that's what we know right now. But yeah, we know they wanted to go to the Dodgers because of Otani. He's even stressed that too, and good for them. Let him go there. Good luck to him next decade. I hope the Yankees take it to him when they come here in June. I do. Well, exactly, Stephen B. Yeah. There's too much drama on these social media things. It's way too much drama. Oh, Nathan's got some news for us here. Yeah, if you're not watching in our sports show with Nathan Ramachandra, make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's fantastic, and he's the one that's bringing all these folks to Woodbridge Brewing Company. He's bringing everybody: Mets, Yankees, Rangers players, Knicks players. He's got one of the most, respectable channels, and he's one of the most pro player, pro athlete, and just pro positivity people out there. So I got nothing but love and respect for Nathan. So thank you for that. So here we go. All right, what do we got? Acquired Mike Baumann and minor league catcher Michael Perez from the Orioles in exchange for Blake Hunt. Okay. Minor trade, but never know. Not surprised the Orioles are trading catchers. They got freaking Adley Rutschman, who's not going anywhere anytime soon. So, yeah. I'll take that. Yamamoto's kind of settling down. He's got a low 3 ERA. He'll be probably solid number 2. I agree. Yeah, I don't think in AC he's not going to. People he's going to be better than everything for him, and I doubt it. Yeah, no doubt, Nathan, man. We got your back, brother. You keep doing the good work, man. One of the best people out there. He does a lot of good stuff for community, Nathan. He's a great guy, Nathan. He's one of the guys I got a lot of respect for, and I always support his channel and what he's doing. Let's go Mavs. But I will wrap this up. We're going on an hour, and I do want to thank you all for coming on. I greatly appreciate it. And technically, Andy Pettit wasn't an ace. Andy Pettit, yeah, he was an ace in the playoffs. I'll put it. I'll say that, Billy. Come on, you got that right. He's a borderline Hall of Famer too, in my opinion, Andy. But then we got popped. He was with the Astros too, unfortunately. 89 likes. So everybody hit the like button on the way out, gang, if you don't mind. We try to get 100 likes before we bounce. But I appreciate that. And yeah, again, prayers for your grandpa, Nathan, please. Yeah, we don't have any clarity yet on Spencer Jones getting how many reps he's getting at first base. Well, exactly, Ken. This is the thing. Yes. Critical thing. Exactly. This is what higher education teaches us too, right? To think critically and to question BS. Right? And people who peddle BS hate their BS being peddled. Counter with facts, especially when you ask them to prove it with facts. So you're spot on, Ken. But if it was a fact yesterday, it's gonna be a fact tomorrow. So and that's just the way that it is. But yes, it did stop the bleeding. Yankees had a much better day today, and saw some good energy. They need that energy, and I think they're gonna bring. I think tomorrow's gonna be a good game. So I'm rooting for Hill over Castillo, baby. But have a great night. Okay. Peace and love to all of you. I want to thank you so much for your support. Hit the like on the way out, the sub on the way out if you haven't subbed to the channel yet. And thank you so much for your feedback tonight too. It was a good discussion. Really, really good discussion. So see y'all tomorrow. Go Yankees.